Hey, what's up guys? It's Lvl here, and today I wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, especially after spending so much time in Warframe, and that's damage attenuation. Damage attenuation has been a hot topic. I've seen this with numerous of different videos as well as experiences my own, so I thought about why not talk about it. Okay, now if you've been living under a rock or you're just simply a Revenant main, you probably haven't noticed this issue, but damage attenuation is a system that's been in Warframe for a very long time. To sum this up, usually bosses or even regular enemies will take lesser damage the more you shoot it. Think about it like a sponge. Okay, you're sitting there, you're loading them down with a incarnate weapon for like 1,000 clips, and then they're just sitting there eating it. I just taking it on the chin, don't have no issues whatsoever. Okay, now at the start of you shooting, now let's say you do like 1.2 mil and then your crit jumps up to like 5 mil. All right, you slapping the mess out of that boss. Okay, but then after a while, as you continuously shoot the enemy or the boss, you're gonna be doing 4.5. You're gonna be doing under a mil. You may be doing only 100, only 1,000 of damage. That's basically what damage attenuation is doing. As long as you keep shooting the boss or enemy, your damage will then become lesser and lesser in order for it to last longer, to feel stronger against you in Warframe. Now, I wanted to bring this up in Warframe's case because I feel as though this topic really does need to be talked about. I think ultimately Warframe is a very easy game. There's no real challenges to your builds. There's no really dungeons or raids or anything case to be to really feel as though like this is a challenge, other than just doing endurance runs with Lvl Cap. And we all know what that is. You're either going to do it with Void Cascade, you're going to pick a survivor mission, or you're going to do your Void Fissures in order to at least feel some rewards by sitting in there for that long. To me, that's not rewarding. And on top of that, it's not a way to test your builds at all, because ultimately you're not testing whether your build can survive against Lvl Cap. You're testing a build to see, can you just have stripping armor, shield gating, or invisible, or vulnerability, and that's it. There's nothing else that really tells you, hey, I'm testing my build out to see if this works. While the enemy scales to a certain point to where they can literally just say, hey, I want to sneeze in your general direction and I want you to fall over, and you'll do that. If you don't bring at least some armor stripping, you're definitely screwed over. And if you're not bringing 100%, you're definitely screwed over. It's not about being creative with your builds or having variety. Just run your cheesy setup like your Revenant, bring your incarnate weapon, and that's really it. There's nothing more to it. And with damage attenuation on top of that, it makes it even worse. And I'm definitely bringing this up because I was working on my own Lvl Cap journey. You know, everyone has did some forms of Lvl Cap, and me getting into Warframe, I wanted to do the Lvl Cap myself. I wanted to do it with my Wisp, and I also wanted to do it with your Rally. Those are the two I wanted to really do it with. And honestly, the whole thing just fell off. What made it challenging wasn't the enemies, it was just the game mode itself. It was Void Cascade. Half of the time, my Warframe wasn't the issue with running Void Cascade, it was my operator. The operator was too squishy. They can't survive anything to save their life. And I'm running, I think, the 777. And once I got to 400 to 500 enemies, so I was at Void Cascade Conduit 50, okay, and that was like my highest that I got to so far. So I'm gonna get to 80. I think once I get around 80, then I'm at like Lvl Cap. But I just wanted to slowly work on it because a nigga got other stuff to do. I don't got time to just sit down and do it. Okay, and when I do it, I'm trying to make sure, okay, do I have this right? Am I doing this right? I'm like testing my waters. So like at first I was like 30, and then next was out 40. Now I'm at 50. So like generally it's not my builds, it's really the mission. And before anyone brings up the argument, don't do Void Cascade if you want to do Lvl Cap, some of the enemies in the Lvl Cap still get the same feeling from damage attenuation. Like I was literally fighting the floating enemy, the one that after you kill it, it turns into like a little spectral, and then it goes to another enemy, and then it gets to respawn itself, and you have to kill it again in order to shoot it with your operator. I was shooting that thing, I was mowing it down. It took so much damage for no reason. Like I'm sitting there spraying it non-stop, and the build that I have set up is where I'm hitting the head majority of the time. So there's no way that I wasn't like slapping it for crazy amounts of damage, and it just took forever to die. And on top of that, I'm running Void Cascade because I don't want to spend like hours and hours and hours on end trying to get to Lvl Cap So I can say I did it. From running it so far, it's gonna take me roughly 2 hours and 30 minutes ish around there to get it. I don't know, I just don't find that fun. And even the devs themselves notice that really deep down, they're not making the game to be prioritized around endurance runs. They can do it, the builds, the Warframes, they can run it, but that's not what's prioritized. And I'm glad it's not prioritized. But I just feel as though like the endurance runs or the level cap runs or whatever you want to call it, it's just not it, man. It's definitely not it. It's a waste of time. There's no rewards to really doing it in the first place, just so you can say, hey, I sat down and I sat in a mission for about 2 to 3 hours, and I'm doing this by myself now. I'm not doing this with a group. Okay, this is just me running my own build against it. So that alone to me is not rewarding. That's more boring. Like, no offense, with the time that I spent in Void Cascade, even though I haven't completed the full level cap run, I could have at least got up, did some push-ups, made some food, and went to the track all in that 1 to 2 hours alone before I was done. That's like, that right there is much more of a wasting time than doing it. If you find it fun and you finding enjoyable to sit around and play Void Cascade, then kudos to you for that long. I have no issue for you, the type of person that would do that. But the reality is that's not Warframe, and it's not never going to be, because even the devs themselves said they don't focus on endurance run for their build. They don't focus on endurance runs for their Warframe. So there's something more that needs to be given than what we have already. I can even go on and on about operator. You know, they just feel so squishy. Even in regular still path, they just feel so squishy. Like that's the only reason to ever use your operator if you're doing Void Cascade. I could have easily hit level cap alone if I didn't do Void Cascade, but it just takes so long to get there, and I didn't want to do that. It's just so boring. Like, am I the only one who feels this way whenever I sit down and play Warframe? Like, don't get me wrong, if you're a person who likes Revenant, or you're a person who likes your invulnerability builds, or your invisible build where you don't have to really worry about dying whatsoever because the enemy doesn't see you, or you're a person who likes shield getting, if you're a type of person who likes Saren and then you just like to do dumb amounts of damage and you're running full like green shards, okay? Or you're a person who just likes to run any builds with green shard. I think there's nothing wrong however you want to play Warframe, but the point is that's not enjoyable at the end. There's nothing to really say, hey, I am testing my builds against this to see if this works. Or, hey, this is something that's really challenging that is rewarding on top of it. None of that endurance run is not rewarding. It's so hard to really like think of something about that. And again, I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but even as someone who has made it to in-game, who likes the fashion, who has majority of stuff that they want to be built, but I'm not trying to sit around and farm for every little thing. I'm not a type of person who wants to get to MR30. Even though I'm saying a lot of stuff that's negativity, I don't want to feel as though I'm coming off like negative about Warframe. I think Warframe is still a really, really good loot and shooter game. I think the game for so far compared to a lot of other loot and shooters has so much more to offer and does really well for itself. The player base, the gameplay, the weapons, all the above, I think is really, really good. But the game is just too easy. There's no room for challenge, and especially for veterans and mid-game players. If you're a veteran or a person who's gotten close to in-game, you know for a fact the only big challenge was Eidolon hunts, and even then, that's not even a challenge no more for you. There's nothing else to that. I mean, after a certain point, you're running it solo, or you don't do it because you don't need to anymore. And I know I went on a tangent for a little bit about the game itself. With damage attenuation on top of this, it makes it even worse. And you only really notice it again when you're fighting bosses and enemies and when you're doing endurance runs. I gotta firstly say that I'm not a game dev. Okay, I know my way around some coding and know how to program some stuff, but I'm not a game dev, so I don't know everything. But what I can say is we need to get rid of damage attenuation. It's just not it. Bring your operator or drifter into gameplay, because at this point, if we able to pull out our drifter or operator in any mission going forward, and they're able to use arcanes, use weapons and all this stuff, we might as well get a setup to where we can mod them just like our companions at this point. Full blown out modding. Okay, they're already in the game. They're too squishy. They die instantly, and it doesn't even take you to do endurance runs to even know that. I even understand why a lot of people love to do Void Cascade for endurance runs, because it tests you. That is the challenge. The challenge is you send down, you have to worry about the rifts that you got to shoot with your operator, then turn around, shoot the enemy that's above the accolade thing that makes to where your Warframe cannot be used until you shoot it. Then once you shoot it, your Warframe then can operate inside this glowing yellow bubble. You then got to kill enemies, and on top of that, kill the enemy that you have to kill. Once that is destroyed, because it becomes a little specter, your operator has to shoot it. You have to then make a build with the 777 or with the 247. I think now you have to use that. You shoot the enemy, it dies, it doesn't come back. Okay, then from there you get to just use your Warframe all over again, and then the cycle repeats until A, you either fail the mission, B, you get tired of it, or C, you die after 6 times and then you can't revive anymore. So bring drifters or operators into the play so then we can feel as though they're being used. Secondly, I think at this point, a lot of people have been saying this from what I've been seeing on YouTube, Twitter, Reddit, like every case, maybe any social media that is like somewhat of a veteran player or a mid-game player or someone who has played like other loot and shooter games. Like, we need some type of raid. We need some type of dungeon. Like, hey man, and I don't mean no rinky-dink thing like Archimedea. I think Archimedea, I gotta say this now, it's really, really good. The fact that it's all random, it makes it enjoyable. Now, that's a little bit issue because everything is so random and you have to deal with non-built weapon that you have. And then sometimes they give you weapons that's not really built good at all. To deal with the whole randomness of it, just give us one weapon that we get to choose, or just make it to where that it only works with weapons that we actually have in our arsenal. Okay, but Archimedea is really, really good. You get to test out different Warframes, different builds, and that keeps it engaging and fun. But I'm looking for something a step above that, where it matters what Warframes you do bring at this point. We got so many different Warframes, so many different weapons, so many different secondaries, so many different incarnate weapons at this point. Like, we can make a specific type of dungeon or a specific type of raid where that matters, where you have to bring a Wisp or a Titania in order to heal. You may need like a melee frame for this one particular part. Like, there can be so much stuff goes into the raid or the dungeon to make it enjoyable. Now, the biggest drawback to this that I'm probably going to hear from a lot of people is, well, I only main Revenant, or I only main Volt, or I only main like a hard-hitting Warframe. How long you been playing Warframe now? You got so many different Warframes at this point, so many different weapons, so many different melees. Like, at this point, why are you only maining one? And if you are the type of person who does only want to main one particular Warframe, then that's you. But majority of people that I think don't really operate like this. I think majority of people at least have more than one, more than two, more than 3 different Warframes, weapons, secondaries, melee weapons, companions at this point, that you can make a specific type of raid or a dungeon to make it enjoyable. And some people who are stuck like that, just gonna have to fall behind a little bit. It's gonna help the majority of play base, then help a few. That's just how it is. I just want to feel as though the grinding and the theory crafting for builds and weapons be worth it at the end of the day, because there's just not that much to it for it. So again, I know I yapped a lot, I know I said a lot, but what do you guys think in the comments? Okay, I'm really open to discussion about this. I really want to have a full-blown discussion. I will be checking this out throughout the week. It's just that if I reply late, I'm gonna be at work. but I'm gonna be definitely just checking it out and just hearing different people's takes on this, because I'm genuinely curious. At the end of the day, I just think Warframe has so much more to offer, and with damage attenuation with this all together and what we have in the game, it makes it harder to really enjoy it. For me personally, I'm just not the type of person to look at a new shiny Warframe or get on to just redo a color skin and then get off. Okay, I think it can be given so much more. I think that's all I want to say on this, and I will catch you guys in the next one.